Hello world, and welcome to Elevated Intuition. Today we are doing a pick a card reading. This is a fun one. So this is timeless, and the subject here is your 6-month glow up. What little things that are coming in this week are going to really impact and affect you 6 months from now. So I almost see this as like a butterfly effect. A butterfly effect is like when a butterfly flaps its wings in China, and then there is, it causes a hurricane in Florida. So we're not going to cause any hurricanes. We're not putting that intention out there, but we're putting out the intention of these tiny things that you can start doing now, whether it be in your personal growth, professional growth, or personal relationships, that's going to have a huge impact in 6 months for you. So that's the concept. When I have a pick a card reading, you get to pick the card, the number, or the object. You use your intuition to pick that. I have the timestamps down below in the description. You click on the description there, that timestamp, then you meet me at your reading, and I use my intuition to read the cards for you. If you like to pick with objects, I will be placing objects right now. So for group number 1, the object that goes with this group, this is Caribbean Calcite. And we're doing hearts. So we're doing everything with love today. For group number 2, this is Septarian Nodule, which is a really cool stone. It's petrified mud bubbles, but you never knew mud bubbles could be so cool, right? And then for group number 3, this is blue apatite heart. So if you're still not sure which one to choose, I just ask you to be present in this moment. I'm going to do a breathing exercise. I invite you to do that with me. Just going to be present in this moment. Go ahead and close your eyes. Make sure that you're comfortable. Take a deep breath in and release. We're going to release out any tension. We're going to set the intention that you're going to receive the messages that you need to hear, the things that are going to help you, the conversation that we're going to have here that's going to make a huge impact for you in 6 months. Go ahead and take another deep breath in and release. All right, open your eyes, and wherever your eyes are drawn, that is the group for you. Thanks so much for being here with me, and I will see you at your reading. Hello, group 1. This is the Caribbean Calcite, and this is the Light Seers Tarot deck, and we are going to talk about your 6-month glow up here. So small things, small steps that we can take this week that are going to make a big difference in 6 months. And it's just tiny steps, tiny things. This is kind of like the idea of the butterfly effect. Like what we do now, small incremental change that makes a big difference and a big impact for us down the road. And we'll get into like the 3 categories of personal growth, professional growth, and then our personal relationships. But overall, what's really important for you to start doing this week, we have discernment. So this is the frequency of discernment. This is sacred geometry. And this is the geometry that represents that. It's kind of like I kind of see kind of a focus, but then an allowing of other things as well. And then that bounces kind of back and forth is what the image is giving me. But I'll let you know what this says is the frequency of discernment supports our ability to view the world and the people around us from a place of inner balance and detachment, yet with compassion and wisdom. And I think that a detachment is important. It's important in that we are not getting so emotionally wrapped up and emotionally charged and emotionally involved in things, because so many times when you think about it, the things that really upset us or the things that ruin our day are just not worth it. The other thing is when somebody is giving you their opinion and telling you what you need to do, that usually comes from a place of their perspective, and it may not even be their perspective. And what I mean by that is it might be a perspective that has been colored by where they grew up, the people that they interacted with when they were a child, their religious beliefs, the society, their culture, their gender, everything that is around them, what their third grade teacher told them. So you cannot just take something that somebody tells you as gospel. Even myself, you cannot take what I'm telling you. You have to run that past like your inner guidance, use your inner wisdom. You can appreciate what somebody is telling you. You can understand, and that's the kind of thing, especially when there's emotions involved, I think it's really important that we have that detachment and compassion and wisdom. So practice discernment. We're going to pull a card for personal growth. So what can we do this week to jumpstart personal growth for the next 6 months? Okay, we get the King of Pentacles. We'll get back to him in a second. Professional growth. And I said we'll get back to him because I want to, change. Okay. And then our personal relationships. Personal relationships here. Okay, so there is a lot of things to embrace coming up here in this week. I kind of feel like of your personal growth, your professional growth, your personal relationships, that the rock or your comfort zone is going to be in your personal area, because we've got the King of Pentacles versus death / rebirth versus the Tower. So we've got a lot of change kind of going on here in our personal and our professional growth. I just want to pull one more card for each of these. Personal growth. What else can you tell me about this King of Pentacles? Okay, 9 of Cups. What else can you tell me about this change here in professional growth? 7 of Cups. Wow. And what else can you tell me about this Tower in our relationship? Wow. Okay. Relationship wise, it looks like the Tower, so you might be moving away from some very toxic relationships. This is something that you have been contemplating or thinking about for a long time. So if I'm telling you you're moving away from toxic relationships and you can't think of a toxic relationship in your life, this is not your message. This is where you get to practice discernment. However, if you are attached to a friend, a partner, somebody, and it's just not, it just hasn't been hitting right for a while, and you've been thinking about this for a while, we have, even though this is the 6 of Swords, and the Swords is a suit about intellect and thought. I mean, we've been putting thought about that, because thought definitely goes into this 2 of Wands, and thought definitely goes into the 6 of Swords. Both of these really are about some sort of movement. For some of you, you could be, like, for a change, be going on a vacation, because the 2 of Wands is kind of like looking out and crossing water, and this is like literally the image is you crossing water. You could be going on a vacation with your person, and that would be something that's probably out of the norm for you, that you haven't done in a while or you haven't thought about for a while. For others of you, if your thought has been, because that would be if your thought has been into how to deepen your relationship. If your thought has been like you deserving more, this Tower can be a huge change. And when I ask you to talk about discernment, sometimes we get trapped in relationships and it's all on that person's terms. We were talking about discernment. We were talking about, not just accepting something because that's just the way it is. That's just what they had told you. That is the model of relationships that they've seen, and that's how they're modeling their relationship with you after. Okay. So this is putting some thought and planning into, and it's going to probably shake some things up. It's into how your relationship is. It is putting some boundaries around what you are willing to accept and what you're not willing to accept anymore. I kind of see like the Two of Wands and the Six of Swords. Maybe it's not necessarily you walking away from the relationship, but I hate the word ultimatum. However, if you have a boundary and it gets crossed continuously, sometimes the only way to enforce that is with I'm walking away from this situation. I'm walking out of this situation. I'm no longer allowing you to upset me anymore. I'm having a hard time with my voice here and my voice being heard. And I'm wondering if that is not something that's going on with you, because that's not something that I've been having a hard time with. And it feels like that's a connection with you here. I kind of feel like there's a certain amount of longing here in your personal relationships, and you might need to put things on pause or really shake some things up here in that relationship. I wanted to start over here first because this looks like the most kind of drastic thing going on is in your personal relationships, where, and I said we would get to like solutions of this and where to invest your time, invest your energy, and what steps we need to take so that we have this glow up in 6 months. This is the King of Pentacles and the Nine of Cups that are coming in here in your personal growth. I kind of feel like you have been putting a lot of time and effort into your relationship, and you may not feel like you've been getting that in return. And now is the time to focus on yourself, because this is where we're going to have the biggest amount of success. It's not that you can't have successful relationships or, professional growth, but it's just that this is the area to focus on right now that's going to do tidal wave into the rest of the areas of your life. This is where you're going to find successes in your personal growth. And it's interesting that we have the King of Pentacles over here in personal growth, because we would want to see it necessarily in the professional growth. You might have to be investing in yourself outside of your current job, of your current workspace, of like the current skills that you have or your current skill set. I feel like doing that is going to help you have more choices professionally. The investing in yourself and the investing in your personal growth and just getting like on a whim. Like, I wonder what it would be like if I learned pottery, or if I took a coding class, or if I opened up an Etsy store, or if I, took this interpersonal communications class, or if I developed my, if I rounded out my resume a little bit more. Where are those skills? Where are those things that you want to develop personally? Maybe not so much your resume. However, with the King of Pentacles here, it makes me think that you're personally doing development that is going to translate kind of over here in this personal growth. And it seems like when you put attention towards yourself, developing yourself, maybe it's working on some communication skills, and that is going to set things off here in your personal growth, or your professional growth. That is going to set things off here in your personal relationships, and ultimately making everything stronger. Just want to get a couple more cards here. Boundaries. We spoke about boundaries. Yeah, fruition and realization. I kind of feel like realization kind of goes over here. Oh, and I don't think I talked about the Seven of Cups very much. The Seven of Cups kind of comes in here as you're finding all sorts of, following your bliss, following your heart. You're going to come up with all sorts of opportunities to take what you really love to do and connect that in some change in your career, in your job. I love that we have fruition, harvest, moon. I love that we have realization here, and I love that we have boundaries. We talked about boundaries. We talked about putting up personal boundaries. These may actually be reversed here, although it all kind of goes together. We teach people how to treat us, and these relationships are not only like with our partner, it could be with our family, it could be with our coworkers. If you don't like the way that somebody is speaking to you, if you don't like the way that you're being treated, if you don't like that there is always like a golden carrot being held in front of you, where they promise you a promotion if you do this, if you do all these things, you do all those things, they never thought you would do it, and then it never comes along. This is where you start enforcing those boundaries. I think a lot of times our managers are very casual with what they say to us, and what they say, you know, they either don't think that you're going to accomplish, or they're not going to follow up on it, or it takes some effort on their end to follow up on it. So unfortunately, you have to push the issue. You have to make them, you have to have them follow up on it. So this week is about thinking about boundaries. What is it that you're doing right now that is like, you know, you're not happy about? And how can you create those boundaries around yourself? Like, I'm not going to work late on Friday. I'm not going to work through my lunch. Those types of things, because you're not seeing results from it. So, and what I mean is, they will ask and ask and ask and ask and not pay it forward. So there needs to be a change here. And I feel like once you start putting more value on yourself and value on what you want, that is part of the change. That's part of you unlocking new doors. And there are a lot of doors here to unlock. The 9 of Cups, this is the wish card. The 7 of Cups talks about a lot of choices coming up for you in the next 6 months, especially career-wise. And then fruition, I love this fruition card, because a lot of times we see change, and we think, even if it's a change that we want, even if it's something where we're changing our career, we're changing what we're doing because it's starting to feel good to us. Like what you're doing right now, your role is like ho-hum, you've mastered it, you want to take on new skills. And in that change process, some things can be kind of a little rough and bumpy. So a lot of what we're talking about is just understanding that that can happen and that can be like that. And keeping your eye on the big picture, keeping your eye on the prize, on the harvest, because this is fruition, harvest, moon. And in cycles, when we're thinking about, you know, a lot of the moons and a lot of the cycles are because our ancestors grew things. This is part of the growing cycle, because that's how we made sure we always had food. In the spring, we have certain roles that we need to do. In the summer, you know, we need to continue, you know, we need to plant in the spring, we need to water in the summer. I'm very simplifying this here. And then in the fall, we reap what we sow, we get what we want. And I'm seeing a lot of kind of choppy waters a little bit here. With the Tower, the 6 of Cups, you know, change can be a little choppy. But it's this part here is, you know, using your discernment, which is what is important to you, running past things, past your intuition, developing that discernment. I think that's part of the wish card here. It's part of that 9 of Cups. It's part of finding everything and anything that you always wanted and always dreamed of. And it's part of this realization that, you know, the discernment and the realization are so connected, because it's part of the realization of like, oh, you know what? I am not happy with where I'm at. That's why I don't want to get up and go to work in the morning. That's why I dread Mondays. That's why I, you know, have put on weight. That's what, you know, all of these different things that can happen when we start kind of taking stock and measuring of what's going on. So over the next week, Focus on yourself, focus on your personal goals, focus on your boundaries, and then it's going to start unraveling and twisting into something really beautiful in 6 months. We're going to have some change. There's going to be some moments when you're like, what the heck is going on? I didn't sign up for this. This is a little bit crazy for me. Just, again, stick to your boundaries. Stick to that higher perspective of where you're moving towards. And I just wanted to show you these butterflies on this Tower card. You're becoming a butterfly, and that process isn't always the easiest. The next 6 months, you're kind of going into this chrysalis. That's what I kind of see with the boundary here too. You're putting like a cocoon around yourself. You're protecting your heart a little bit, and you're going to come out of it much stronger. So that's what I have for you, Group 1. Thank you so much for being here with me, and I will see you in the next reading. Hello, Group 2. This is the Septarian Nodule, and we've got our Angel Wisdom Tarot, or Group number 2. We'll get to these cards in a moment. We're going to talk about your 6-month glow up here. What can you start this week? What can you put in motion this week? Small steps, small things, small thoughts that is going to really pay off in the next 6 months. And the first thing that we have for you, lovely, Miracle 33, the frequency of miracles supports our belief in ourselves as part of Source, and therefore our belief that anything is possible. What do we say? What's that saying? Seeing is believing. But in this case, it's kind of really believing is seeing. Right now, this week, you need to set the intention. No matter how crazy, no matter how big, you are invited to make it big and crazy. And we're only going to think of that it's crazy for this moment. Pie in the sky. What is it that you want in 6 months? Write it down. That's your homework. Write it down. What is it that you want in 6 months? What is it that you want to accomplish? And we're going to move from there. We're going to allow the universe to work on it. You're part of the universe. You're a co-creator of the universe. You are creating your reality along with all of us. But part of that is believing that whatever it is that you want is possible. You might also start believing, for instance, let's say, I said pie in the sky. Let's say you want to be a billionaire. If you want to be a billionaire, who are the role models in that? And we have to look at, see what they've done. What are they? They're just out there to know that is possible. If that's what you want, and then you're looking around at the people that have accomplished that, and you're having a really negative reaction to that, it's going to be a problem for your miracle, because once you start achieving those types of things, and you're like, well, but the people who do this, or maybe you want to own a house, or you want to drive a BMW. Let's go with that. Okay, so you really want a BMW, but then your opinion of everybody who drives a BMW is they don't know how to use a turn signal. That's going to be so much harder for you to manifest that when you have such a negative connotation of the people who are doing the thing that you think you want to do. So I'm just throwing that out there. Let's talk about personal growth. Let's get a card for personal growth. Ooh, wise counselor. Okay. And then let's get a card for professional growth. Professional, personal, professional. And then we're going to come over here into relationships. Your relationships. And then I'm going to get one more to kind of explain what each one of these are. So, okay, so as we're going through it. So our personal growth, we get wise counselor. This is also many times called the Hierophant. It's a lot of times the Pope card. It looks like there's a Pope or a Bishop on there. I think it's actually a Bishop, but a lot of people call it the Pope card. It's unity with a spiritually minded community. Ask the divine for help and trust the answers will come. Compare traditional methods with new ideas to see which is best for you. There's a lot of balance here. This card in particular, because it's got the pillars, we've got the balance here. And I think that's because this card has Archangel Sandalphon on here. He's a very tall archangel. He's the one that you pray to make sure that your prayers are being heard. He's the one who has like his feet on the ground and then his head is in heaven. So he's able to deliver those messages for you. Just that information in case you would like to work with Archangel Sandalphon. I love that we also have the keys here. The keys are usually also always on the Hierophant card. And I do love this spiritually minded community thing. And whatever that means to you, there's no judgment here. It's not like, yeah, this is a Pope card, you have to go and be Catholic now. That's not what that is. But it is questioning maybe your beliefs a little bit, especially if they make you uncomfortable, especially if things pop up and you're feeling that you're getting triggered by spiritual information, religious information, things like that. It is diving a little bit deeper into that. And maybe you're finding somebody who can help guide you a little bit. So meditation, for example, yoga, for example, maybe cold plunges, maybe breathing exercises. Wim Hof does cold and breathing exercises that are actually really amazing. Maybe this is cleaning up your diet a little bit. The Hierophant card for me is, I don't like putting people on pedestals, but every person we know knows something we don't know. And we can learn from everyone. So being a seeker, going in and questioning what they're telling you, running that past your own inner guidance, and seekers then become finders, and then finders become like the authoritarians on that subject. So whatever it is within the spiritual realm that you're interested in, whatever it is that you think will help calm you a little bit, calm anxiety, help you to calm down, that's what we're searching for, and that's what we're putting out there. And maybe you're just starting with a 10-minute meditation. Maybe you're just starting with some affirmations. Maybe you're just starting with some breathing. Just 10 minutes, maybe 3 times a week. Let's see where that will take us. Is there any more information you can give us on this card and personal growth? We get the 5 of Pentacles. So this is also, I mentioned something about eating. Did I? I think so. Maybe it is eating healthier, and maybe you're just adding like vegetables into one meal. Maybe, and the reason I'm saying that is because the 5 of Pentacles is a very physical card. Could be about our bodies. It's about maybe our living situation. Maybe it's that you need to clean up your environment, and you're doing that by, making your bed, starting to make your bed. Very tiny, bite-sized things. These tiny things add up and they make a big difference. And I feel like this 5 of Pentacles is coming in here because we need to turn our thoughts into something more positive. We need to go in a more positive route. This is also Archangel Sandalphon here. See, it's the same angel. Negative thoughts manifesting into real challenges, fears surrounding money, reach out to others for assistance, poor timing for becoming self-employed. That's just what's on this card, and I want you to see what that says. But as far as in the context of our reading here, in the context of these, we can't let our negative thoughts guide us, because that actually is what's holding us back. And I think we hit on that when we were talking about the miracle. We hit on that when we were talking about manifesting. So we need to go towards a positive place. And if that's just starting with 10-minute affirmations, if that's just starting with 10 minutes of journaling, if it's just starting with this reading, great. Now, what is going to help you feel better? Let's look at some ways to make you some foods that are maybe don't have as much salt, that aren't as processed. It's going to make you feel full, feel better. Let's go to this let's read this first, and then I'll get you another card to further discuss this Four of Wands energy. Personal growth, or the professional growth anyway, your job, your work situation. There's a lot to be celebrating here. In 6 months, you're going to be celebrating an accomplishment. 4 is a number of stability, so it's just becoming more stable in where you are, which is great. We always want that in our professional life. We want to make sure that we matter to where we are and that we feel like we're valued. So much to celebrate. Send gratitude to the divine and the angels for the peace and prosperity coming to you. Peace and contentment in your personal life. It's funny that this is kind of like your personal life, but this is more peace and contentment in your professional life. I think and this is kind of the other reading too, my first reading as well, where things really start and kick off with your personal growth. And then it kind of rotates into the rest of your professional and your personal relationships. What else can you tell us about this Four of Wands card? What else can you tell us about that? Very interesting. I kind of feel like, this 5 of Pentacles and this 9 of Swords are very much related. And it kind of feels like almost if you don't do these, this is kind of what's on the back end. So it kind of feels like you're currently in a place of some fear or maybe some anxiety. And like I said, it's nice that we can translate this or move it into an area where we feel like we're stable. Stability feels really important to us right now. A lot of these fears here in the 9 of Swords are things that just we shouldn't give energy towards. We should let go. It's when we're expecting the worst, and because we're expecting, it's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy. When we expect the worst, we're looking at it and we're figuring out like where it can come from. Have you ever been skiing or maybe even mountain biking? It's the first thing that they tell you when you're skiing or snowboarding is look where you want to go. Because if you see a tree over there and you want to go this way, but you're looking at this tree, you will go towards the tree. You never look at where you look where you want to go. If you're looking where you don't want to go, somehow you end up there. And that's what the self-fulfilling prophecy is kind of about. So look towards the positive. Look towards your accomplishments. Look towards what you want. We're not going to feed this negative energy and these negative thoughts into what we don't want. The good thing with this 9 card, that it is a 9, which means that we're almost at the end of this cycle here with this anxiety, and it's about time for us to release it. We need to allow this worry or we can't allow this worry to grow out of control. I think I mentioned journaling for you. That is a great place when we have thoughts that we just cannot get out of our mind. And that's a great place to put down those thoughts, to put down the negative thoughts. I love to face the negative. Like, okay, I understand that this is the worst possible scenario. Great. I get it. I understand it. I write it down. Now that that's out of the way, what can I do to make things better? What can I do to focus on the positive? What can I do so that in 6 months I'm celebrating and not worrying? And that's what we're doing this week. We are maybe writing down your worst fears, accepting it, seeing it, and then sometimes when we write it down, you're like, why was I thinking about this so much? That's not even that bad, even if that happened, which it's not, because now I'm going to let it go, and now I'm going to focus on these miracles coming for me. Now I'm going to focus on where I can celebrate myself. Now I'm going to give myself kudos. Now I'm going to make sure that I'm looking where I want to go instead of where I don't want to go. Now I'm going to release this anxiety. It's no longer my thing to carry around. And personal relationships. I kind of feel like you need to step up and maybe take command of your personal relationships. If you are single, that means that maybe you're the one who makes the first step. This is the King of Pentacles. Be very grounded, be very practical. It says compassionate, accomplished, charismatic, grounded. A time for great success, financial security and prosperity, the Midas touch, so it looks like your relationships are going to go well the next 6 months. Everything turning out beautifully, a supportive parent or spouse, a good person to work for. So I love this. I mean, there's almost nothing more that we can talk about here in your personal relationships, but I'm just going to get one more card because we did for all the other ones. I think, renewal. So if this renewal is a card of stepping up. So if you're in a relationship, maybe you're moving in together. If you live together, maybe you are getting engaged. If you're not in a relationship, maybe that's putting that step forward, that foot forward and asking somebody to consider, to go on a coffee date or whatever that is. If you are married with children for 20 years, I don't know. That's me. I'm trying to think about what would be the next step. Maybe adding some romance to our stability. It's interesting how, just from my perspective of somebody who's been married for 20 years, how there is continually achievements to happen in your relationship, how there are new ways to communicate. So never feel like you have reached the end of the line with, the end of the growth of your relationship just because you've been with somebody for a long time. I kind of feel like that's with love too. Like love just gets deeper and grows more and radiates out. So this renewal card, it says, reviewing the past with compassion and forgiveness, time to head in a new direction, clarity on your life purpose, in your heart, you know what to do. I kind of feel like too, this is so related to what we talked about, your personal growth over here. I feel like it's a level up in your relationship just because you start achieving more here personally and professionally, and then your relationship, just because you feel so good that it's like, you are kind of exploring new realms with your person, just because you're kind of a new you. And then also the forgiveness part of this. There are things in the past that we just need to let go of, and it may not be worth it to hang on to that anymore. So that's a message for some of you. Like if your husband told you that you were acting like your mom, for instance, I wouldn't know what that is anyway, I digress. So let's just get one more card. Ooh, sovereignty, very nice. Queen of the Moon, which is the name of this oracle. Gratitude, I love that. And then relationship wise, we have protection. So let's start over here. Sovereignty, Queen of the Moon. That's the name of this oracle, Queen of the Moon Oracle, and this is just a very powerful card. It's so much related to miracles, expect miracles, and part of that expecting miracles is that you realize who you are, your sovereignty, start treating yourself like you're somebody who matters, start treating yourself like you are, like you're the main character in your movie. And look around, like everybody around you is here to teach you and delight you. Okay? And then we've got this it's so related to the wise counselor. I mean, obviously this is over here on your personal growth, but the wise counselor, I talked about, you know, you're seeking something, then you learn that thing, then you kind of master it, and you are your own wise counselor. So I love the sovereignty because it reminds you how powerful and important you are. Over here in our professional growth, gratitude for maybe you're not exactly happy with where you are at the moment. Sometimes that starts with, okay, I'm not happy in my job, but I really do love this about it. I really do like the people I work with. I really do like that it's close to my home. I really do like that I get paid this salary, even if I have to work late. And then we start working on the things that don't work for you. So having that gratitude, maybe writing down that in your gratitude journal. There's a lot of journaling over here going on in your professional growth. And then for your personal relationships, I love this protection that comes in because it's like, it almost feels like your relationship area is you know, I think you should have gratitude for your relationship area too, because it's like your nest, it's your protection, it's where you feel safe. And I love that for you. So that's what I have, group 2. I hope that you have a fantastic week. We'll see you in 6 months. I want to know how things are going in 6 months. And I wish nothing but the best for you. Thank you so much. Hello, group 3. This is the Apatite Heart. If you pick this or the number 3, or you just really like this deck, you are in the right place. Before we get to this, let's get this card out. And this is the reading for your 6-month glow up. What to do, small steps to take this week so that you can see big results in 6 months is the whole reason for this reading. We're going to talk about your personal growth, professional growth, and then personal relationships. So we're going to do kind of like delve into those 3 areas, see which area is kind of leading, and go from there. But overall, divine masculine, just because it's masculine and feminine, when we're talking in terms of in here, in terms of tarot, in terms of card reading, those are 2 sides of ourselves, 2 aspects of ourselves. We give the divine masculine these qualities, and the divine feminine has other qualities, and they go hand in hand and they complement each other. So many times either one can very much have a negative connotation in the media. That's not what we're dealing with. We're dealing with positive. So if you had a negative reaction to the divine masculine coming out, we need to think about that and ask ourselves why we would do that. And I'll let you know what it means and what it means in terms of us and our glow up. So this is sacred geometry, and the divine masculine in this deck is defined by kind of these squares, because the divine masculine, and then squares and triangles. Triangles are very interesting. You know, we have the pyramids. It brings in energy. The pyramids are often talked about bringing in like the energy. Sometimes, I'm just going to reach over here because this is a good example. When we have a crystal point, something like this, it helps to bring in and focus that energy. My camera stopped. So I think we were at this point where we're talking about the divine masculine. The divine masculine supports our strong, focused, and active side, allowing it to express itself while helping us to bring our dreams and ideas into form with kindness and wisdom. So I think when we're talking about like the negative aspects of the divine masculine or toxic masculinity or any of those types of terms that we see in the news or on social media, it's because it's not done with kindness and wisdom. There's nothing wrong with stepping up and taking control. Things need to be leaders take control. And sometimes maybe we aren't the best at leadership. That might be something that we need to develop, and that's okay. You start that by trying it, first of all, seeing what happens and going from there. So I see you doing a lot of leadership, a lot of stepping up. If you're not comfortable with that, it's okay to think that you're not comfortable with that. And I think a lot of the best leaders are really not comfortable in leadership. That's because they see that, they're coupling the kindness and wisdom with it. They're trying to take into account like the people that they're leading and doing the best for everyone. And there's sometimes some compromises. But with the divine masculine, we're taking action. We are doing something. And to take action, we need to focus. And when you think about action, let's talk about with you're just walking down the street. Very focused movements. You don't even think about it because you've been walking presumably for a long time. You take your leg, your foot, you move it, but it's very focused on what part of the body you're moving. You just don't even realize it because you've done it so much. And that is where the point that we want to get to is, we might be uncomfortable for a little while in this glow up. We might be uncomfortable when we're changing, and that's okay. At some point, what makes you uncomfortable right now is going to be something that is just an afterthought later. So just keep that in mind. Let's get a card for your personal growth. Beautiful. We have the Fool card. That's actually the card that kicks off all of the cards in the tarot. Professional growth. We've got, wow, we're going in order here. We have the Magician. So 2 major arcanas right off the bat. And then for our personal relationships, 2 cards come out. So we'll keep those. Holy cow, like all major arcanas. So a lot of things changing here. With your whole life, it looks like, which might be why you were attracted to this reading in the first place. Because it's like, 6 month. What is my 6 month plan? What can I put into motion here? And I love that everything starts off with the Fool. I kind of, with the other readings, you could tell which aspect or area was going to kick things off. With you, it looks like everything is moving at once. I feel like with the divine masculine and the Magician here, that you may have had some imposter syndrome at some point. And that is completely natural and normal. And what that means is if you're in a position, even if you're supremely qualified to be there, a lot of people question, should I be here? Should I be doing this? And I think a lot of times when we step up in leadership as well, we're like, at some point we get these intrusive thoughts asking, like, who am I to tell people what to do? Who am I to do that? That is completely natural. That is completely normal, as long as it's not overpowering and overcoming. And you personally need to overcome that. If I think I'm speaking to most of you here, but if you have been having those types of intrusive thoughts. The Fool, like I said, this kicks off everything. So I feel like, I hope this is giving you some optimism going into this next week, that you can accomplish some really, really great things, that what you put forward this week is going to pay off big. The Fool is somebody who sees the goal and is just like, boom, go for it. There's no planning, there's no thought, and a lot of times that is great because I think that is great when we combine it with the divine masculine. Divine masculine would probably do some planning here, like the squares, the ridges, the box. We get into things that we know what we're getting into, but we're also not hung up by the unknown. We're not being held back or pulled back. So the Fool, beautiful energy to start new things, kind of focused, kind of like an arrow, kind of like an arrow being pulled back, this laser focus, and kind of glosses over some of the steps that might be an issue, might be a problem. However, like I said, some of those steps that might be a problem, that if you put some planning into, you might overthink it. And the Fool is definitely not overthinking. The Fool is going to the top of this mountain. There's a ton of potential here in personal growth. The issue for you might be just focusing it though. Focusing, with the Divine Masculine, we have all this plethora of things that we can do. You can take a class in knitting. You can take a class in web development. You can become a graphic designer. You can go back to school. You can, become a nurse. The Fool has all of that potential. The problem is, or the issue is we're human. We have a finite. We have other things that we want to do. We want to make sure that we're showing up for work. We want to make sure we're showing up for our people and our friends and our family. So it's kind of that balancing things out. It's kind of like, I think the Divine Masculine is here to help you prioritize what's important, but there's nothing wrong with getting hyped and getting excited about potential. And let's go ahead and pull another card. What can you tell us more about this Fool? Yes. So yeah, don't overextend yourself. The Four of Swords is about just taking it easy, self-care, meditation. So yes, it's great to get all excited about things, but don't get over, don't feel like you have to accomplish everything. Allow some things to flow to you. Be open to new ideas. I think that, look at this, the prayer hands. That's so interesting. I say look at this because what was I talking about with the allowing that energy to come in? I feel like this is more about allowing it, especially when we have the Magician here, that we're not going to force things. We're just going to go with the flow and go along. We're trusting our future self with future issues. Then in our professional growth, we've got the Magician. I spoke about this a little bit already. We're talking about, I just want you to, understand that you are very, very powerful. You can step up into leadership. I hope that part of this next week for the 6 months coming up is you recognizing your power. You've got your potential. Now we're recognizing our power. We're recognizing all the skills that you wield. We're recognizing that if you don't fully understand something, you have the skills and ability to go out there and discover what that is that you need to discover. One more card here. Can you tell us about the Magician? Right away, we get another major arcana card. It flipped over right away. This is the Death card. Don't be concerned about the name. The Death talks about change. And when I was talking about not forcing things, just allow. You don't want to fight against the current. We're going to go with the current. We're going to understand that the only thing constant in life is change, really. And you are really preparing right now and into the next 6 months to flow with that change, not fight against it. And I'm seeing this Star card here as a good indication that you are going with it. And then the changes that are coming, because with change, the thing that is kind of scary about it is there's things that are taken out of our lives. And the many times we fight against those things, and then we realize, wait, our life is so much better kind of without that, or that was just an obstacle that was in my way that was holding me back. So we're just going to flow into the change. And I swear this deck has more than just major arcana cards. We have the Chariot and we have the Star card. The Star card is probably one of the most beautiful cards in the deck. It talks about having a balance between, and I think we do need to stay grounded a little bit, because when we get changed, we don't want to get overwhelmed by the things that are going on. Stay grounded, stay in touch with your emotions. Sometimes your heart makes a decision that your head isn't quite caught up with. You're emotional, so don't go crazy with your emotions. Putting in that work and then realizing the things that are being taken out of your life are sometimes some very good things. Maybe it's that you just can't get in touch with a friend, they're doing other things. Maybe it is that you have a change in your work environment. Everything I'm seeing that was very positive for you. And then I feel like when we've got the Chariot here, it's something that you're initiating, that you're ready to move forward. You're ready to make some changes. I feel like maybe your personal growth here and your professional, see, these in the Chariot, we've got these two sphinxes. Sometimes they're horses, but they're pulling the chariot. We've got a black one and we've got a white one. They're coming from two different worlds, and we have to merge them to move forward. You have to step up and take control of the situation and make sure that your skills, your personal development and your professional development are moving where you need them to move. Okay, so I'm just reading that as a whole. Within your personal relationships, you know, somebody might, like the Hope card is kind of like after the Tower card, which is a huge card of change. So you may be on the rebound from a relationship. You may have figured out something kind of shocking, maybe in a workplace kind of situation. And it's kind of going back to basics a little bit too. Sometimes we feel lost when we have this like shift. I feel like there's a shift here. Some of the shift though is you initiating it because you need to. It's time. You're ready to make the change, and that's all about flowing with it. So anything that you need to sit down this next week and maybe break these three areas out. I think that they really kind of flow together, but break these three areas out, and what is it that you want to accomplish in them, and it's gonna happen. Okay, so just be mindful. We're gonna have some change. We're going to have some release, maybe some forgiveness. I feel like you need to forgive somebody, and that's going to help you move forward emotionally here. Now remember, maybe they don't deserve it. They may have done you wrong. They may not deserve your forgiveness, and that's okay. You're the one who deserves it, because you don't need to be tied to them and tied to the past. It's time for that release. Let's get these cards out and get one for each area. Personal growth, and one for professional growth, and then, and then one for your personal relationships. Wow, okay. I would like to see pleasure in my personal relationships for sure. Oh, discernment. Discernment came out, not this card, but came out in this position for group number 1. So if you were attracted to that group, there might be messages for you. And I do love discernment here, especially with the Fool. I love the Fool. It's a great card, full of potential. However, we need to make sure that we're focusing some things down. Use your discernment. Your discernment is your inner guidance. It tells you when something is right or wrong for you. It helps you investigate new things and find that path. It's trusting that inner voice. And you might, and I love the 4 of Swords here, because the Fool can get like just woo, you know, I almost feel like bouncing off the walls, excited about something. And I love that. That's a great feeling. But we're going to actually accomplish something. We're going to take that, we're going to filter it through our discernment. We're going to meditate on that. We're going to maybe write those goals down like we were talking about, and figure out what is going, I don't want to say best bang for your buck, but certainly like your time is not infinite. Nobody's is. So with your time, what is it that you really want to accomplish? Because as we come in here to your professional growth, we get the unexpected. This is Blue Moon. And I love that because it's almost, you know, we have the Magician. I said it's almost magic. Like, there's a lot of times when we sit down in our situation, and this is our work situation, we sit down in our situation and we're just like, man, I'm not happy with what's going on. I'm not happy with this, but I just don't know how to fix it. And the blue moon is kind of like that unexpected change, and it just shifts everything. I said that everything was working together and I wasn't quite sure what kicked everything off, but I do feel like I do feel like it's this Fool. I do feel like it's that personal growth. It's that, I'm here in this job, in this situation, in this career, in my profession, and it's just not like it's just not right. There needs to be a change. And you start brainstorming, you start figuring out like what is it that in my personal growth that would make me feel better, and it starts transforming these other areas of your life. And then so expect the unexpected, especially when you start picking up and taking control. There's like 3 cards here about you taking control. Yes, there's change. Yes, there's some unexpected things. That's okay. You are able to weather the storm because you're trusting yourself and your abilities. And then I just feel like pleasure over here in your personal relationships is kind of self-explanatory. Go with joy, go with fun. Don't be afraid to express yourself and let other people know what is going to be good and fun for you. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there and let other people know, like, I really want to do this. I would love to meet up with you. I would love to have this conversation. I really love talking to you. I really, what is it that you really love to do? What is it that you really are interested in? And follow your heart, follow your joy. I kind of feel like it is kind of related to the Fool a little bit. It's still kind of the same beautiful energy, this like follow your heart, follow your inspiration. And all of this is talking about trusting yourself because you are capable, more than capable of handling everything and making your decisions. So that's what I have for you, group 3. I hope that you have a wonderful week, a wonderful day. I'd love to hear what happens for you in the next 6 months, and I will see you in the next reading.